Hello once again, Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage Mechanics. Welcome back to another great unboxing video. So here we are once again looking at a great pickup truck from AMT Ertl. This is the 1950 Chevrolet 3100 pickup. Again, another great kit. Now I have unboxed one of these before in the past, but it was a snap-together version. And thanks to my good friend John Harries, who sadly passed away this year, I now have the full version of this kit. And this is a modern classic. And I'm going to say that because it came out a few years, well, actually like 2 decades ago at this stage. But it is such a great kit. I'm sure you're going to love it. So without further ado, let's go down to the bench and see what's in the box. Okay, Mr. Peabody, let's set the Wayback Machine all the way to 1950, where we get to take a look at this great 1950 Chevrolet 3100 pickup by AMT Ertl. This is a skill level 2 kit, molded in 1/25th scale, and originally came out in 1994. So that's already 30 years ago. It's a modern classic, as I'd like to call it, because this version of the kit is the very first one that came out. And there was a sister kit to it, which had a hot rod version of this, as well as a snap-together kit. Now, I've just recently acquired this kit, so let's take a look at the side of the box and see what it says. Here on the side of the box, we actually have photographs of the real car, not the model kit, which is really good because then we can actually see what it looks like. But of course, nowadays, 30 years later, you can find all this great stuff on the internet. So here we have the detailed cargo bed, as well as chrome hubcaps with Chevrolet on them, the Thrift Master 6-cylinder engine, and a wonderful look at the dashboard in here for our detailed interior. On this side of the box, we have one of the beautiful grid illustrations of our Chevy truck. Again, a photograph of the real truck. So we don't actually get to see what the model looks like on the box. And over here we've got the specifications of the kit, the type, the engine, the transmission, wheels and tires, exterior features, interior features, parts, and paint and cement. Over 115 parts, full color decals. I've waited over 30 years to do this. Anyway, so what we've got here is the unboxing. Let's pull that lid off. Now, I do believe John Harries had looked at this before, so it's not going to be bagged like it was originally. But here we have the instruction sheet with a beautiful illustration of the truck and all the plastic parts, and I sure am glad that this kit did not disappoint, like, you know, because we're not actually seeing it on the front of the box. There we have the body shell. We've also got parts trees here, which have the interior and the dashboard, firewall. Then what do we got here? Engine block, radiator, inner fender aprons. A full frame on this thing. Beautiful work. We also have our fenders and running boards. And we've got some accessories like the old 50s sun visor up top, as well as our springs and our wheels. And then here we have the sides of the truck, actually the full truck bed. Really cool stuff. At the back end of the truck bed, or the box, I mean, not the bed. Then we've got our chrome components down here. Now, there weren't too many on the truck back in the 50s. We've got a decal sheet, very tiny, which is typical of the era. And then we've got our tires and our glass and the red taillights, as well as a little form to send away for the blue printer and a distributor. I got to make sure I don't lose that. So now I'm going to clear all this out of the way and we'll take a look at the instructions. Here we have the instruction sheet for our model kit, and you can see this wonderful illustration of the 50 Chevy pickup. Again, very well done. Down here we have the write-up, 50 Chevrolet 3100 pickup. In 1950, the production and sales of Chevrolet trucks set records that would stand for years. So there you go. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the instructions here. Now, down below, we have the important Read Me First sections, and here we have a list of the recommended hobby tools we'll need, as well as the important stuff like make sure to test fit your model, scrape away the chrome where it's going to glue together and that. Then we have building tips for the advanced builder, like sanding your model with 120 grade wet or dry sandpaper between paint coats and all that other important stuff. What we have to begin us off are some nice, big, clearly drawn, well illustrated images of our engine going together. So to start it all off, we have our belts and pulleys with the wonderful fan molded in place down below for the generator, as well as the big fan to cool the engine. Again, really cool details in this kit. Now here we have the Chevrolet engine. Even tells you to paint it Chevrolet gray in here, which is a medium gloss gray, and apply your decals after the paint has dried, of course. We've got our left and right hand side engine block for a 6-cylinder, the long oil pan, water pump front cover, and then the cylinder head. Now this one had overhead valves, so that's why there's no spark plugs going through the top like a flathead in this kit. Our next panel shows some of the components going on the engine, like the oil filler tube, and it even has the overflow tube in here, which would just spill oil out onto the street. We have our starter, which will be going into the back near our transmission, the distributor, and the coil, which is going right into here, as well as the belts and pulleys from the previous step, gluing into our front timing chain cover and water pump. Here on the driver's side of the engine, we have the oil filter, and we have our air cleaner top and bottom, as well as the carburetor, intake manifold, and the exhaust manifold down below, and those would all glue onto the side of the engine block. In step B, we have the wheel assembly, and I remember this was quite a change from the old AMT metal axle wheels, if you guys remember those from some of the earlier AMT kits. So again, in '94, this was quite revolutionary. We have the outer wheel back, a wheel retainer right here, the Firestone tire, which I do hope these are Firestones in here. Modern kits are getting rid of the names on the sides of the tires, which is making them just generic. We also have the front of the wheel, and it shows a little valve stem in here too, which is cool. Or what does it say? C notes. Paint the wheels prior to assembly. Valve stems must be removed if you use the trim rings. Okay, so you've got an option to use a trim ring in here, but you have to get rid of your valve stem. Too bad it doesn't have a notch for it, like it should. You could use a file to do that. Anyway, here's the hubcap as well, and all that would go together to sandwich up to make yourself one great looking wheel. And you'll need a few of those, so again, go for it. It also says you can paint a white wall on the sides if you want as an option. Step C shows our chassis assembly. So here in figure 6, we can see everything that's going on. We've got that giant frame underneath. Look at all this stuff. Drag link, front shock absorbers, front leaf springs right and left, a front axle, tie rod going across the axle, emergency brake rod. Wow, real cool stuff. Shock absorbers. There's our rear springs, and these look like they're almost like fully elliptical in a weird way. They're not attached down below, but overrider springs, I guess. Then we have a 2-piece differential rounding it all up in the back. In figure 7, we start to install our engine right in here, which will glue up into the frame from underneath, because this is upside down. Then we have our tailpipe and muffler going in here, so it's 2 pieces with the rear tailpipe. We also have our torque tube being attached into the back of the differential and going up to the back of the transmission. How many of you have one of these real trucks in your garage right now? Let me know down in the comments below. Figure 8 is completing our frame here. So we have our wheels being glued onto the ends of the axles, both front and rear. We also have our radiator being glued into place, and it's got upper and lower radiator hoses. So again, a really deluxe model kit. I love this era of AMT. Modern day classics, just like I said. And to wrap it off, we've got our splash pan being glued into place. Make sure you follow these assembly steps, because this kit may be complicated, and if you do something like perhaps glue the splash pan in first or something, you may have some problems with the suspension going in there, or the engine, or something like that. So make sure you follow the figure steps here and assemble it accordingly. Here we have the interior assembly, and how many of you really like building these interiors? How many of you like to sit in them? I know Danny the dog does. He usually sits right here in the passenger seat with me, right beside me. Isn't that right, Danny? Yeah, I sure do. All right. Well, that is great. Okay, so take a look at this. You've got inner door panels. Look at all the pedals in here. A starter pedal, accelerator pedal, brake, clutch, and the parking brake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right in there. Isn't that cool? And then we've got our heater motor right here, which seems to be gluing into this side of the inner door panel. And now, since you're all asking for it, I brought in a tighter shot onto this panel. So what we have here is the seat. Now, this is a fold-down seat, much like in the AMT 55 Chevy pickup trucks, which are also from this era. So here we've got our seat, and we've got these brackets down below, and they pop into these little holes or half holes in the seat so that this will fold down. Then we've got our steering wheel, steering column, shifter lever, and the dashboard, which is typical kind of dashboard of the late 40s, actually pretty much from the 30s, with the V-style windshield. Again, really cool looking stuff. Here in step E, we have the box assembly. It says detailing tip, carefully drill a shallow 3/64 inch hole into each upper corner of both side panels as shown. Paint the inside of the holes flat black. Interesting. Okay, here we have our box. You can see the box bottom, and it slots into the sides for extra support. We've got our tailgate here, and then our left and right fenders, and then the front panel. So I'm curious as to what that's for. Maybe something so that the tailgate locks into the hole? Interesting. Here in panel F, we have the cab assembly. So here we have the rear of the cab being glued in place. Fender filler left and right. So that fills up the space with the firewall, between the firewall perhaps, bottom of the firewall. Anyway, we've got our wheel wells left and right hand side, and the assembled interior popping up into place. If you know how these fender fillers actually attach to the inner fenders, let me know down in the comment section below. Here in panel 13, we see the glass being glued into place, and it pops in from the outside, which is quite unique. Hopefully you won't pop it through into the interior. I don't know, have any of you done that? Let me know in the comments down below. Here we have headlights right and left hand side, the bezels chrome plated, as well as the lights going in. And then we've got our grille, and there are some turn signals just up at the top, which will be in the grille area. Panel G shows the cab, chassis, and body assembly, which at this stage is quite simple. The cab just drops over top of the engine, with the engine bay going up through our fender wells here, not through the seats. And then we've got the box in the back being glued into place. Looks like it goes onto these tabs, up in 2 in the front, 2 in the back here. Again, really simple to do and will look great. Panel H shows us doing the final assembly for our truck. Now it's starting from the back end, and here we've got our taillight bezels as well as the taillight lenses being glued down here. Then we've got the license plate and the license plate decal, and our rear bumper going on the bumper horns. We also have our gas cap going up into here. Off to the side, figure 16 shows an optional piece, which is the old style sun visor, and it's got these nice little brackets that hook up underneath. And that brings us to panel 17, where we show our hood getting assembled with all the emblems and the front emblem, as well as a hood latch underneath, which is quite great for a kit like this. Here's that optional sun visor being glued in place, as well as the side mirror and the running boards, which are actually going onto running board brackets. Really top notch. There's our 2-piece horn, which glues up here on the engine, as well as the front bumper being put in place, license plate bracket, and license plate as well. And then if I just slip this down a little bit here for everybody, you can see at the bottom of the instruction sheet, we have all the color callouts with the actual paint codes right in here, and then a super detailing tip. Let's read that. The dash of the 50 Chevy pickup and all interior trim can be painted to match the cab color gloss black. Gauges were black with white numbers and letters inside chrome trim rings. Knobs were chrome and vents were black and could have chrome, black, or cab color. Now let's take a look at this amazing cab. Keep in mind that when this kit came out, AMT, Monogram, and Revell were all competing against Tamiya for most accurate looking model kits and most detailed. Now with that in mind, let's take a look at this thing. So here we have the cab. Look at that wonderful vent in there. Amazing stuff. There we've got what looks like where the gas cap would go. Door handles. Now there is a seam line that I see. It's coming up here and going around there. This has those vent new view windows in the back. I'm not too sure because the snap together kit I have is sitting way up on the shelf up there somewhere. I'm not sure if it actually has this rounded out without the new view windows or not. Don't remember. But anyway, looking at this side again, really cool stuff. Instead of the louvered vent here, we just have a little door, which is interesting. Front of the cab looks nice and crisp. Got the hood latch molded in there. A couple little mold marks way at the top, but nothing that your knife couldn't quickly get out of there. Overall, this looks wonderful and is really cool. Look at even the vent door up front. Amazing stuff. Here's our parts tree with the engine block on it, as well as our radiator, inner fender wells, and the back part of that cab. Some suspension pieces as well. But look at how well detailed this is. See all the little spark plugs in there? This is looking just like it should. Might be one of the best Chevy straight six engines out there as far as model kits go. Look at the detail in the radiator. You can actually see not only the vertical bars, but you can see a bit of horizontal in here and behind if you look carefully enough. There we have the radiator with the big upper radiator and lower radiator hoses. Radiator. Anyway, then I've got some mold marks in the fender aprons, but again, they're very shallow in there. You could probably get away with just painting over them. But again, use your number 16 hobby blade to get rid of those. And again, excellent looking work, excellent detail on here, and looks like it would be easy to go together without much hassle. Our next parts tree includes the interior tub as well as the firewall. We have our dashboard here, our hood, our two-piece folding bench seat. We also have that front bit and our steering column, steering wheel, and all those pedals and gear stick lever. So take a look at that dashboard. Is that not amazing? Try to move this around so you guys can see. I know it's hard with the light plastic. That nice firewall there. Turn this over, take a look. Unfortunately, there's mold marks right where the floor mat is. But overall, I mean, this looks great. Got the bottom of the bench seat there, as well as a little cargo storage place. I guess a mini trunk. Underneath the hood looks great, just like it should. There's bracing in there. Amazing stuff. Couple of mold marks, but hey, what the hey? What the hey? Overall, excellent work. Crisp. Really no flash, maybe just a little bit on here, but really next to nothing. This parts tree includes more suspension components, as well as our wheels and the air cleaner, two-piece air cleaner. There's our torque tube, front axle, and rear differential, as well as our three-piece sun visor. So bringing this up to our camera, springs look excellent. Might need to do a little bit of seam line repair. Wheels are great. Is it 6 lug? Looks like 6 lug. And you can see the little valve stem in there. Again, amazing. Over on that side, we got some mold marks going on, but nothing too severe. Interesting how that differential is molded as flat pieces that go on top of each other, instead of being hollow like most of them are, but maybe it's a flat, small differential, so yeah, I can't really see you doing it any other way. This parts tree includes our inner door panels as well as components to make up our pickup truck box. I guess we do get a bit of flash on this one, so it is a little bit strange in this kit. Some parts of the mold have flash, others are very clean. This one is pretty mooky. There's our pickup bed with the wooden slats, looking really good. Nice to have this open so you can put your bare metal foil on to each of these rails, make it look really pretty, or even paint those black if you want. Chevrolet logo on, or letters, raised letters on the back of the pickup tailgate is really cool. There's the back wall. You can see all the little pegs for it to go in, slot into. Door panels look excellent. Turning it over, again, more of that pickup floor, although there are mold marks in it. And then these side panels, I do believe the fenders would go on the opposite side. Yeah, so there. But these are like the bolts for the fenders. So again, really nice attention to detail by AMT. Excellent stuff. And if you've got spare bits from some of the other AMT pickup trucks, like the 50 Ford or 53 Ford, you can actually use the oxygen acetylene tanks in here and many other components. Now I'm going to show two parts trees together just because there's not that much on them. What we have is our full frame right in here. You can see all the great brackets for the running boards, which are down here on this parts tree. We also have our fenders and the wheel retainers. Look at how big and massive this is for the frame. The only issues I see are sink marks all along the frames here. So you can see them, there's even a hole right there where it shouldn't be. So quite a bit of putty will be required to fill this up. But again, looking really nice. Some mold marks raising up in here, so you'd have to file them flat. Overall, not bad at all. Have to remove this in here to get at your brackets. But again, great work. Looking at these, got the nice detail in the running boards. Turning it over, you even got locators for the brackets and mold marks, so make sure you get rid of all those mold marks. But overall, again, excellent work on trying to match up with Tamiya quality by good old AMT Ertl. Here we have our transparencies, so we've got our red tail lamps right here, and they are really tiny, so be careful you don't lose them. We also have our headlights and the windshield, the side windows, and the rear window. So be careful with your headlights to make sure that you look at, there's vertical and horizontal lines. You want to make sure that these are all traveling the right way in the bezel and that they're not crooked in here. So again, north, south, east, and west for the lines and not at some weird 45-degree angle. Here's our chrome parts tree, and you can see the wonderful grille right there right away. Headlight bezels, Chevrolet emblem for the hood, and then the side of the hood with the 3100. We also have our front and rear bumper, the beauty rings. Use them if you want. Use them at your peril. No, just kidding. Then we've got the great hubcaps on here, as well as our license plates and the side mirror. Taillight bezels too. And the gas cap right there. Again, look at that detail. You can actually read Chevrolet 3100 on there, as well as the Chevy under the logo. Grill, you can see through it. Excellent work. You have to get rid of those mold marks. Overall though, great, great stuff. I would get rid of the mold marks and then carefully paint the back aluminum so that it looks like, you know, the rough side of a real bumper, or grill I should say, but you know what I mean. Overall though, this is excellent work and should fit really well in this model. Here we've got both the tires and our decal sheet. I thought I'd do these back to back for this video because there's really nothing going on with the decal sheet other than Missouri license plate, a Wyoming license plate, and a Texas license plate. as well as the Thrift Master decal for your engine. Now, look at the decal. The paper itself is quite yellow. This is a kind of glue that's on here. When you put the decal in water, this will all come off, and then your decal will slide out of the way. So anyway, there's our license plates, and as you can see, not much going on here. There's no flames, there's no, well, even just a logo for like a business. So if you want this truck as a business type of thing, look at some of the other kits that I've unboxed on this channel, especially like the new offerings from round 2, instead of in the RC2 days of AMT Ertl, where they just gave you the license plates. So there are some really cool things out there. Now, getting onto our tires, these are the old tried and true AMT Firestone tires that you would have found in the 32 Ford kits back in the day, 40 Fords, all those early ones. So I'll just put that to the side here. You can see that it still has the raised Firestone lettering up there, and the tread is just basically going looping around and round, straight lines. I think the new RC2 tires, or round 2 tires, I mean, actually have a better tread on here, the slightly wavy line as it should be, and not just straight out like a tractor tire. But overall, I mean, they're classic old tires, and I still like them. I'll still use them, and they'll still be very good on your model. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at the AMT Ertl 1950 Chevrolet 3100 pickup truck. It's really hard to believe that this kit came out in 1994, and that's 2 years after I graduated high school. Amazing. Has it really been that long? If you've built this kit in the past, let me know down in the comments below. And if you're looking for model kits in general, check us out at www.monster-hobbies.ca to see what model kits we have for you today. We can ship around the world. Just give us a call and all that great stuff. So until next time, everybody, happy model building, keep on trucking, and we'll see you in the next video.